Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the DC Multiverse Justice League Flash figure, which is pretty exciting because we don't have a figure of this guy yet, and this is his debut in the cinematic universe, at least his proper debut, because BVS, he was barely in it. And so like I mentioned in the reveal video, maybe not the best articulation, definitely not the best articulation, but the sculpt and the paint, absolutely fantastic. So this is another thing kind of similar to Superman, definitely better than Superman, where you're going to have to decide what you want out of the figure. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just over 16.5 centimeters, which makes him just about little tiny bit over 6.5 inches. So scaling's not the best, he's kind of tall, but like I said, absolutely loaded with sculpt work. The articulation is severely hindered in many cases, but it is fully sculpted and the paintwork is phenomenal. I mean, I haven't seen this much paintwork on a $20 figure outside of NECA in forever, so I have to give him credit for that. It's incredibly clean. The silver lines on there, the panel lining. I mean, there's even black on the edges of these thigh plates. And it's so clean. It's so nicely done. Everything looks really, really good. The eyes are painted well enough. This thing excels in paint, and then the sculpt is also very nice, though of course his chest is a little narrow. I assume they did that for the shoulders, but it doesn't really look great. But yeah, the paints are just super good, so nice. Now, the articulation, definitely not great. As far as the head goes, can we lean it back? We can lean it back just a tiny little bit, so not too much. So you're going to basically just get rotation. It's a little stiff. It's not uncommon for the DC figures to have stiff joints, so be a little careful with that, but it's okay. The shoulders definitely look weird that they're inset in the torso so much, because in the movie, this piece, at least from what we've seen, should stick up above the trap area, so that's not ideal at all. But you can raise the arm up really well, so I guess that's why they did that. So if you want that, then you have it, and if you don't want it, then you don't. Generally speaking, though, these guys are going to be for the people that like the aesthetic rather than articulation. So it's going to be up to you to decide what you like. Full range there. Full range for the bicep swivel. Single jointed elbow. Very, very limited. Very limited. You do get rotation out of that if you want it. So I guess that's okay, but definitely a very limited elbow. Now, you might be able to do a little trimming to get better range out of that, but that's going to be up to you. Do at your own risk. And then you have a wrist swivel. Again, though, the paint, like as I'm looking at this thing, I'm just very impressed by the paint. It's very, very nicely done. Articulation sucks, but the paints are good. Ab crunch does go back a little bit, barely at all, just a tiny little bit. So that's it, almost no range, but it is there, and they did do the sculpt and paint up underneath, so give them a little bit of credit for that. Full waist twist, no problem there. For the hips, they're a little bit better. They're not DCUC style hips, and they look really nice because of it. They're not perfect, but they're definitely okay. They go out to the side way better than 45, so that's really nice. And going forward, almost completely forward. Just a tiny bit off, because he's leaning back a little bit. Just a tiny bit off of 90. So the hips are really, really nice. And they put the thigh swivel at the top, so that's very much like your standard Marvel Legends. I just noticed there's dark red in there also. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, the hips are really nice. It's a shame that the ab crunch is really weird. And then we have double jointed knees, so that's pretty good. That's a little uncommon for these DC movie figures, or DC figures in general. It's not the best range in the world, but I guess it's okay. It's not the best looking joint either. I see what they were trying to do by making it not have like the peg holes, but it ended up having too many chunks of meat sticking out. But it's not bad. It's definitely okay. And then for the ankles, you have a hinge that lets them go back, obviously, and it works pretty well. And they go really far forward, so that's really good. No ankle rocker, though. That's a big-time bummer. No ankle rocker is definitely a huge drawback for me when I'm buying a figure. But one thing that is a good thing is the paint. This guy is definitely going to look good on a shelf, so I could see a lot of people liking it for that, and a lot of people hating it for the articulation, and both people would be very justified. So I'm going to leave it up to you. This is a weird batch of figures. They look fantastic, but you can't pose them very much at all. So totally up to you guys. You're going to have to decide for yourself. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.